we're gonna wait like we do every time, and I say this every time because we gotta make sure we're broadcasting. Yes, we do. And I just got like listening to the music from the people we're gonna do today, and now I'm like very nostalgic. I'll talk a little bit about that in a couple minutes. Again, I want to always wait to make sure that I'm broadcasting before I speak. I'm a little more paranoid than I probably should be because it happened like once where I just wasn't streaming for a bit, and then I got paranoid that like that would happen again. So I'm always just checking to make sure that I am streaming, because I'm a nervous Nelly. But I have so much to say, so I'm excited for when this starts. Um, in the meantime, I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to hydrate. How are you guys? I hope that you're having a good quarantine. Staying hydrated, or as good as it can be. Staying hydrated, staying active, whatever that means for you. Whether that means, oh, there we go, perfect. And we're up and running. Love to see it. Okay. So, hello, welcome to PunKrap, etc. We are back with another sketchbook session this week, as we are on Wednesday nights during April during quarantine. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight, and I have a lot to say about this. But first, I'm going to say, hey, last week you didn't get to see me finish this one because it took me a total of about 5 hours to finish this off. If you're new here, on PunKrap, we do sketchbook sessions, and we also do sketchbook sessions from old concerts I've been to, or just concerts I've been to. And also we do album reviews. Those are happening on Saturdays currently, and on Wednesdays we're doing album reviews because during quarantine, why not do more if I have the opportunity to do so? So basically, last week when I was doing this sketchbook session for the July 15th, 2009 Nickelback Papa Roach Hinder and Saving Abel concert at Jones Beach, I got through all of the type because this is all hand painted. I got through all of the type, and then I didn't have enough time to finish it off. But here's the final product. I spent about 5 hours on this total. I think it's worth it. I think it's beautiful. I'm very proud of this, actually. And we're going to ruin it by putting garbage next to it today. No, I'm kidding. So, funny enough, the next show that I went to after this was literally 5 days later. And at the time, I was like, this is peak concert going. Like 2 concerts in 5 days, because I'd only been to, how many before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 concerts before. 2 in one in a week span of time. Oh my God, I must be living my absolute best life. So, crazy times, because this was on the 20th of July. And I wanna start by figuring out what avenue I want to go down for this first, because I don't want to like keep talking and not be drawing at the same time. But I don't really know what I want to do yet because I have two ideas. So I'll explain first. So I went to the Jonas Brothers World Tour on July 20th, 2009 at Nassau Coliseum. And I'll get into how I got there and the actual concert in a second. But I have 2 memories. One, the ridiculous promotion of this tour. This was before like I even kind of knew about like like big tours and stuff. It was like this, so funny, so funny. Like what is this? Like it's like black and white. The only color is Joe Jonas's shirt. You can't even see it, but like it's so funny. I remember seeing this and being like, wow, that's crazy. And so I remember that. And I remember like, oh, I remember this because they had like a CD come out. I've never seen this, still have not seen this, but one day, the 3D Jonas Brothers concert experience. So I'm torn between the promotion. It's kind of like when someone's like, "Oh, do you remember that?" And you're like, "Well, I was too little, so I remember pictures, but I don't remember actually being there." But the one thing I do remember about this concert was that it was like we were like the absolute most nosebleed tickets, like literally ever. So my thought was I wanted to do like a really forced perspective of me climbing up the stairs to go to the top. Because to be honest with you, I couldn't see anything. We were so far away that I was just so happy to be there. And again, I'll tell you why I was there. So my first thought is to do like a silhouetted version of me as a kid, like walking up these big ass stairs with like maybe some lights, or walking down those stairs and the concert is like here, you know? But I feel like I'm gonna have to be really careful with not just continuing to do like stuff like this. So I'm like kind of debating just like chalking this up and doing something more. I don't know. I'm kind of betwixt multiple opinions because I don't know. My literally the most vivid. I'm stuck between whenever I do these. I don't know if I want to do something completely based on memory or if I just want to do something a little bit more like abstract. Like I had envisioned almost for certain concerts just doing like the way that I felt. And I think I might kind of do that here. I think I might do that here. Let me do some sketching and I'll get back to you. So, I'm what I kind of want to say here is that when I was tiny, everything felt big, you know? So I think what I'm going to go for. Yeah, all right. This is what we're going to do, even if it turns out like shit. So, what I want to do is I want to do like the four people I know I was with, like me and then the three girls, and then like the Jonas Brothers as if we were sitting like right here where those hands are in that picture, to be the exact opposite of what we actually were doing, because we were ridiculously far away. Yeah, you know, I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna do something incredibly realistic because I don't feel like it. To be honest with you, and I wanted to do this kind of more soft and like watercolory. So we're just gonna do like a light sketch and then play with some watercolors. I think is what we're gonna do. So how I got to this concert, I'm going to draw, these are me and my four friends right here. And this is just going to be kind of like a little bit more abstract. It's going to be like lights down here, and I want like one of the Jonas Brothers here, kind of like this, where they're all like next to each other here, but like I'm going to we'll play around with it. So, and maybe we'll add Jordan Sparks, because she was there too. Yeah, I don't want to draw their faces, but I do want to get across like the energy. Yeah, all right, I'm going to draw this first. So basically, I get too caught up sometimes in making these perfect, and I know that they don't have to be. So we're gonna make these real funky. Because the thing is, it should be hazy because I don't remember because I was what 12? I was 12. So basically, my friend in I guess this was elementary school. My friend Emily, shout out to you, Emily, had her birthday in August. I'm pretty sure it was Emily, because yeah, no, it had to have been because Christine's birthday's later. So this little friend group, Emily was supposed to go with, who is still now. Hi, if any of you were watching. Um, it was Emily and then her friend. We were all mutually friends anyway, but they're like still really good friends. I know now, and not that we aren't, but anyway, getting too complex. So basically, Emily had birthday concert tickets to this show at Nassau Coliseum, and it was supposed to be her, Christine, other Emily, and then Ashley. And I'm pretty sure I don't remember if it was Emily or Ashley who went. I think Ashley was sick. We're gonna go with Ashley is sick because that's what I remember. Sorry if that's not true. So Ashley was sick, but they were like, "Hey, do you want to come like super last minute?" And I was like, hell yes, absolutely I do. Yes. So they picked me up. We went and we got food at like Applebee's or like TGI Fridays or something like that. And we got to go to this concert and it was so cool. I was so excited because I was like, yo, the Jonas Brothers, what? Crazy. I never expected that I'd get to see them live. And here we are. And now I'm here. So uh, this is Emily. Emily Fenter. This is Emily Filizzola. This is Christine. No, yeah. No, I want to be able to see Christine's bangs. She has them and has had them. Yeah, we're going to do this super abstract. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to do this really abstract. And then me, I had really long hair. So I'm gonna just kind of swoop this down off the page. So basically, that's the four of us. Emily's hair was pretty long. Um, all of our hair actually. Christine's probably was about here at the time. But here's the thing. You might think, oh, you were asked last minute. Wouldn't that be sad? Hell no. I was stoked. I was excited as hell. I also didn't kind of realize that it was like last minute until probably like when I was older. Um, I still don't give a shit. That's cool. Whatever. You thought of me? I want to come. Hell yes. So that was cool. We went and we like again we got dinner and stuff. Um, and then we got there, and I had only been to if we take a journey back, I had been to the general admission Hillary Duff concert where we kind of like got to run our way in. Mind you, by the way, also now that I remember, I don't know what I thought back then, but when I'm remembering it now, obviously I'm like I can like look back and think about what I thought, but who's to say if that's actually what I thought at the time? So like we had, pretty good seats, standing position for this because we got to like run up and like got in there early for like no reason. And then here, we had good tickets because my dad bought them. And then here we were like, I don't know, generally fine tickets. And then same thing with this Neil Diamond show. And then this was my first concert at Jones Beach, Nickelback was. And we were like again pretty generally good, but I had never been to like the upper like ridiculous parts of the Nassau Coliseum, and I have since, and I've been to, believe me, Barclays. Oh my god, when we get to the concert that I was like absolute nosebleed at Barclays, that's going to be a crazy one to be. So basically I didn't know like how steep the stairs get when you go really high up at any coliseum, and we had like absolute no, like almost last a row seats. Here's the thing, I didn't give a shit. I was in the stadium, so what do I care, right? Also, I'm 12. So I was like, cool. But the thing that I remember the most is that I was like, I wasn't even nervous about not being able to see them. I was nervous that I was gonna fall like on the way up. So I was like walking up these stairs, like so damn nervous that like I was gonna fall on the way up, and like all because it was like me, the three other girls, Emily's mom, and I think Christine's mom also came. I can't remember if Emily's did, but we it was definitely at least six of us. And I remember being like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die!" Like it just seems so steep, especially when you're like so tiny, you know. Um, and I was so scared. Like I was like, "Oh no!" And then once we sat, like everything was fine. But then they'd be like, "Do you have to go to the bathroom?" And I'd be like, "Nope." No, I don't have to go to the bathroom because I don't want to get up. Um, so that was what I remember the most, and that's what I was going to try and draw in this. And then I was like, that'd be lame. So we're just gonna like hype this up and pretend that we were like right the hell there. So right now I'm just gonna do this in like really fun, like blocky ways. Um, Let me reflect on this concert itself. So I didn't know, still to this point, I was kind of like, yay, concerts, like whatever. Like I didn't know, right? And so I like didn't realize that like openers were a thing. So when people would show up to concerts, I was like, whoa, crazy, there's more of them. Like I didn't know we paid for this basically. Um, and so when Jordan Sparks shows up, I'm like, whoa, holy hell, I didn't know she was gonna be here. That's so cool. I'm so excited. Um, she got to sing her songs, and that was fun because at this point in time, Jordan Sparks, I believe, this was 2009. What did Jordan Sparks release? She won, like, or not, maybe, I don't know if she won American Idol, but she definitely was in it, and that's how she kind of came to be. She's got some good songs out there, but at this point, 2009, she had released her duet with Chris Brown, No Air, which was like this must have been 2009, would have been the summer, graduated elementary school in 2011. No, middle school? Oh my god, no. Okay, so this must have been was summer going into, I feel like this was in elementary school, but maybe I have the wrong tour. Who's to say? It's too late. When I compiled this list of my concerts, um I compiled it based on what I could remember. And this tour sounded most right because I was like, I don't think we saw Demi Lovato because the 2008 tour had Demi Lovato. Either way, if this was the concert that we went to, which I'm pretty sure it is, because it was here, and I think I tried to do my research the best I could. But anyway, this was a summer for me leaving sixth grade, so going into seventh. No, it had to have been because Jonas Brothers were all the rage during sixth grade. We used to have like this school store that sold pens and stuff, and I took one of my like teen beat like Justice whatever the hell like J14 book and like cut their faces out of it, like the Jonas Brothers faces out of that magazine, and like put their faces like on my pen so I would like use different ones each day. I don't know, but I did it anyway. So, um who's to say? So I no, I don't want to. Do I want to do that? I wanted to make it look like he was singing, but I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to give them faces. I literally just want to make them like blobs. I don't know what Nick Jonas looks like. I don't want to give him a nose. Alright, so how am I going to tell the difference between Nick and Kevin? Because they both have the same hair. Nick's was curlier. We'll make him a curly boy. Curly boy. So anyway, no, Jonas Brothers were like all the freaking rage. Do I want to put his head there? How tall? I don't even know how tall each of them are. It looks like Joe's the tallest, but that's for sure not correct. Alright, we're just gonna leave his head there because I don't really care. So, and Joe never played the guitar because I guess whatever. Yeah, we're not even dealing with likenesses here. I just want to get this information on the page essentially. So, get this on. Nice guitar. We're gonna span that across Joe because fuck it. So basically, the Jonas Brothers were like all the damn rage going into middle school or like around that time, right? And are we gonna give them bodies? How do you hold a guitar? Yeah, it's called foreshortening. That's his hand. We'll come back later. I don't know. His other hand would be holding it. He would have been playing it feasibly, realistically. Yeah. Listen, it's gonna be a nightmare, but that's what we're here for. So I want to just do like really stark blocks of color on this. That's the goal. So anyway, Joe's got a microphone because I think he plays guitar, but he definitely didn't when we were there. And then the other one also plays guitar. The other one. I'm sorry, Kevin. No one ever gave a shit about Kevin. Only everyone was either like a Nick or a Joe person. You either liked one or the other. And like, so whenever we'd have like, arguments, it'd be like, no, I'm gonna marry Nick. And you're like, now I'm like, what? No one was gonna marry Nick. No, like they all have wives now. So that's a good sketch for what I want to accomplish. And I think I just want to jump into painting. So my first thought when I think about this is like pink. I wanted to give this a pink wash, and now I don't think I want to do that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make like a really slight erasing so that you can't see the pen through. I'm stealing your eraser, Mom. For now, I don't want you to be able to see the pencil through the watercolor, so I'm gonna erase a bunch of it, and just kind of like lightly erase it so that I can still see where I'm going, but I don't have to worry about you being able to see the pencil through. So anyway, now that everything's drawn out and I don't have to be all over the place, basically, Jonas Brothers were all the rage, and everyone thought they were gonna marry them. And it was like 2009, and they released their first album in 2000 and I just had it up. Jonas Brothers, 2006. I don't care about that one. It was called "It's About Time," and I couldn't tell you a song off of that at all. However, their next album, Jonas Brothers, self-titled, was an incredible album. I'm gonna give this a pink wash just for kicks, to be honest. I just don't want to start on like a white palette, so we're just gonna give this whole thing a wash. Um, a wash or like an underpainting for anyone who is not an artist is kind of like you just don't want to start on a white piece of paper, so this gives you like a baseline to not have to do that, and then you can take that color, especially if you know it's going to be like the majority um, of your picture, and kind of like play off of that. So like with oils, you could always like take out the color, and with like um, watercolor, you can like add on and whatever. So that's what we're just doing now, because I don't feel like starting on a fresh white sheet of paper. We'll wait a couple seconds for that to dry. And I know this is multimedia paper, but it's still going to curl up a little bit, and that's all right, because when we close it, it's going to stop doing that. So basically, um, they were all the rage. Take a shot every time I reintroduce that. And they released it for the album that actually like kind of got them skyrocketing places. I don't know how they got started in the first place, but the thing is, they were on Disney, so that's kind of like I think where I found them anyway, and everyone else kind of found them. So, and they were like, they're hot, they're brothers, hot for middle schoolers, like for us. So that was, kind of fun to see. So I think what I want to do is I want to make I want to make everything. So, okay, so I want the main color palette to kind of be a la this picture. It's like purple and pink. So I want like most of these to have like that nice pink shadow like above our heads and like across their backs and stuff. And then I want the rest of it to just be like kind of stark block colors. So I'm going to start off with us and then go from there. So I wasn't super into them, to be honest with you. I was kind of like, I don't really get it at first. And so when I went to this concert, I remember being like, I was excited, because it was a concert, not really because it was them, more so just because I was like, I also wanted to be like friends with people because middle school was hard and I didn't have any friends. So that was like, part of it. But on top of that, I also like everyone was just like so up and whatever. And what's funny is I reflect on this now, and I remember when people were like, people who have come out later in life will be like, oh, it was so clear, like I was such a gay kid. And I always was like, I really wasn't. Like I don't remember having those thoughts or feelings until I was much older, or like thought like potential about that. And now I'm like, duh, because uh, everyone loved the Jonas Brothers, and I never understood why they were so infatuated with them. And I'm not a lesbian now, but I also don't tend to go for men, and this was like the epitome of that. I remember just being like super obsessed with Avril Lavigne, and now I'm like, oh, okay. Um, but that was funny. I always was like, personally, I couldn't decide between Nick or Joe. I thought that they were both cute. But nowadays, not the ones that exist now. So if anyone doesn't know, the Jonas Brothers started off via, I guess, like Disney Channel, will say. I know they were signed somewhere earlier. I've done my research before this, but I don't really care to go back and look. Um, so they started off there, and then they were a band for like a couple years, I guess. Like they were around for like a while, and they stopped writing music after 2010. They were on like their own series, which is called Jonas LA, after they were in Camp Rock on Disney Channel, which had Demi Lovato in it, who's also a Disney star. This is not the color of Christine's hair. Um, and they got like famous because of that. And then after that, they kind of like took a break because they were just kind of starting their like adulthood at that point in time. They were teenagers when this was happening, so they would have been. Let's check. I'm pretty sure that there's four Jonas Brothers, but one of them is not part of the Jonas Brothers. It's Frankie Jonas. He's the youngest one. So they're from Jersey, which I hate. Yeah, they gained success via Disney Channel. Kevin Jonas is currently 32, so he would have been, this was like 10 years ago, so he would have been 22 when this was happening, like the end of their first like regime as pop gods. So he would have been 22 at the end when they decided to break up. Joe would have been 20, and Nick would have been 17 when they finally decided to like call it quits for a little bit. And I understand that. They were like really young when they first started. And then after a while, like I can understand how like continuing to travel and write music with your brothers, like at the start of your career and the beginning of your adulthood, might be a little bit like trap feeling, especially when like you have so much pressure to like keep this like Disney Channel image and stuff like that. Like I can't imagine, you know? And so they broke up for a little bit and they got back together literally this year, like literally 2019. They got back together, they made an album called Happiness Begins, and it is arguably one of the most nostalgic and captivating like things of my childhood to be able to see the Jonas Brothers come back to life. I did never expected that to happen. We got in 2019, we got notice of the fact that My Chemical Romance was coming back and the Jonas Brothers reunited. Okay. 2019 was arguably the best year we had, uh, definitely in comparison to 2020, but we'll cap that for now. So, um, they were so good, and then everyone heard they were breaking up, and everyone was like, "Oh no!" And I remember being like, even back then, I would have been in 2010, I would have been 13. I remember being like, let them go do their own thing for a bit, you know? Like that must be a lot of pressure. And when they came back, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I remember then I finally listened to their album, Happiness Begins, and I listened to their old stuff and I was like, "Damn. This is arguably very, very good." And I am very nostalgic. And even like right now, I was like watching a video of them performing Burning Up before I started drawing this, and I'm not even gonna lie, they're so talented. Like to be honest with you, and even now, like oh my God, they're so good. I was literally watching and like listening to no, I want to be wearing a purple shirt. Hold on. I was listening to Nick Jonas sing. What a unique voice, man. He's so talented. Like yeah, the other ones are talented too, but there's something about Nick's voice that I've literally never heard anywhere else in my life before. Oh, that's gonna bleed. Oh well. Um, it's just such an oh, what a weird little voice he has. It's so good. It's like really raspy and odd, and I remember being like very infatuated with that musically. Um, and I just wow, they were so good. And do I want to put her arms up? We're gonna go with yes. So that's such a bad tangent. Hold on, let me fix that. Tangents are when you put two corners of something together, and right there I put like the fact that her arm ended right at my head, and that's not preferable. So, doesn't look great. It doesn't really happen in life. So, basically, I remember right now like watching all their stuff being like, damn, they really were so good. Like they are still so good. Like they're all so talented, and like even Kevin, who takes more of a backseat to everybody else, and does like the guitar and stuff, who like definitely obviously doesn't want to be as much in the spotlight as the other two were. Like they're all just so talented, and the stuff that they made was really good. And I know it must have been hard for them to like grow up in such an environment or like gain their fame in such an environment of like Disney and stuff like that. Um, must have been interesting. But I really it's funny how nostalgia can come in such huge waves. Like when I was watching this, the video of them performing Burning Up in 2009, like literally a couple minutes before this, I was like, wow, they were so good. Like um and they still are so good. The album they produced is arguably one of my no, definitely. It was one of my favorite albums of 2019. My favorite one was Hot Pink by Doja Cat, but that we discussed that 2 weeks ago, so you can catch that on Spotify. It'll be up soon if it's not already. I don't remember. So, um, they just had such like a good presence, and like they talked about important things without it being like undigestible for like children, which I think was great because their entire fan base was like, you know, 9 6-year-old girls to like 20-year-old girls going to that concert. And I don't want to talk too much about that concert because I'm gonna have to paint it event at some point in time. um Literally was one of the most nostalgic nights of my entire life, just based on principle alone. um because I would never have expected that in 2019 I would have been seeing grown up 32-year-old Jonas Brothers playing a concert, a sold out 2-night concert at MSG. Like, that's fucking crazy. Um, so I don't know, that's super cool to me. Um, and I remember this concert because I was like, wow, Jonas Sparks is so talented. Like, I'm so happy that she's so talented because, like I said the other week when I was doing the the concert review for the for American Idol, I remember hearing them and being like, why the hell don't they sound like they should? What is this? So when I heard Jordan Sparks, I was like, oh, crazy. You sound like you're supposed to? That's nice. Um, which was cool. Oh, yeah, you can see. So that was fun to experience, and she killed it. And now I'm like, oh yeah, no kidding, you're gay. Like, because I was much more infatuated with her performance than I was with the Jonas Brothers. I also couldn't see them; they kept moving around. But I remember just having such a good time and feeling like so accepted too because I'd been like invited to this. Um, and even if I still remained mostly friendless through most of middle school, that's fine, and it's over now. Um, but it was so much fun, and it was just like I knew all the lyrics and stuff, and this was like really um, the first band from like my actual age group that I was involved in. Like everyone else was really big fans of like Justin Bieber and stuff, and I remember just being like not into that. Like it just wasn't my vibe. So I really didn't like jump on that. Like I didn't like I just thought it was dumb. What's funny is back in the day, like, um, girls or like kids in general would just be like, "Oh my God, like I love this so oh, that's not the color I wanted." They'd be like, "Oh, I love this like celebrity in particular." And I remember specifically when I was reading like all those the teen magazines and stuff, right? What a culture that is, by the way. You only know about that like if you were like raised as a teenage girl. Because I don't know that they do that now. You can go on the internet and Google pictures of Billie Eilish. So, um, also, what I'm doing here, I'm making the tiny people's faces, the girls, me and my friends' faces, like very circular and very like round because it kind of like shows that we're like children. Um, Whereas I'm gonna make the Jonas Brothers faces a lot more angular, which shows that they're like I guess adults at the time, teens. But that's kind of what I'm going for, if you're wondering. So I'm also gonna grab the salt, and we'll use that later. You'll understand why. So what I'm painting here also is specifically the fact that I didn't know you could do pyrotechnics at concerts back then. And they had like flames come up during burning up, and I was flabbergasted. Let me tell you, I did not know what the hell that was. Um, but I remember being stoked. I was like, "What? You can do that?" And now I'm like, it's so commonplace to have pyrotechnics at a concert, but like back then I didn't know what that was. Um, Pyrotechnics are fire. So what the hell was I talking about? I do that all the time. Hey, that's my brother. So, oh, it was like, sorry. So back in the day when we had like J14 magazine and stuff like that, right? Um, that was again quite the culture. I want to kind of paint them a little bit more colorful than I know that they probably were, because they definitely were wearing like leather jackets and t-shirts and stuff, but I don't want to just paint this all black. Maybe I'll stick to a more monochrome-ish palette. I don't want to add like blues or greens or anything. So I guess we might add some blacks, maybe with some like purple tones. Um, I'm gonna give, so I want to make sure that they stand out from each other, and I kind of want to make the guitars. Let's do some research. Do we think that they had colored guitars? Just learned that Nick Jonas's middle name is Jerry, and I wish I didn't know that. Nick's is blue. It's like very clearly green or blue. Uh, it's definitely blue in literally all these pictures. Okay, so we're gonna let's do some deciding, right? I kind of want these colors to complement each other, so like a pink, purple, teal, like this turquoise color. You can't see it because it's off camera. This color is kind of what I'm jamming with, specifically because we want to give him an accurate guitar. This color, and we're going to add that in Kevin somewhere. So we're going to make this blue. And I want to make sure that they stand out from one another because otherwise it's going to be hard to differentiate. Whose arm's coming from where? It doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to give them faces, by the way, in case you were wondering. I'm just going to like shade their face based on where the light's coming. So because they're here, we're going to have the lights coming down from behind them, and then it's going to reflect onto the faces of the girls beneath. So anyway, magazines, J14 magazines. People would always have crushes on like celebrities or like whatever, and I was always like, I just don't understand it. Like I don't get why people are so obsessed with like actors and stuff. And I still don't, actually. Funny enough, I always was wondering why people were so obsessed with celebrities. And then I discovered music, and then I was like, oh, okay. I understand what you're talking about now. Okay, so I want to give, in the videos I saw, both of them were wearing black shirts, and Joe is in a, no, I'm sorry, white shirts, and Joe is in a black shirt. So all their hair is black, brown, dark brown. And I think I want to give, because I want them to stand out. So his guitar is black. Let's paint that and come back. So, what I've been saying is, I know, damn it, I know that has to go down. This isn't gonna look like a real guitar. We're color blocking. I have to like convince myself every time that I don't have to make things realistic for them to be good. Haha, artist props. So people were always obsessed with celebrities, and I always was like, I just don't understand it. And then I found Panic at the Disco, and I was like, there it is. That's exactly what I've been looking for. And then I started to get obsessed with musicians, and here we are now. I still don't get, and that's totally fine. If you want to be obsessed with Channing Tatum, God bless you. It's just there's something about like actors or like athletes or whatever that like doesn't really do it for me. I think because it's just like not the thing I'm interested in. So if I were interested in sports, I think I'd be like infatuated with somebody who, an athlete, or like if I was really into movies. I'm also like the type of person who like I just like don't look for just, your looks. Like I like to like get to know somebody and then they become more attractive to me. But in all seriousness, that's true. So I think like getting to see somebody's personality when they perform on stage really has like a huge impact on my opinion of them as either a performer or a person in general. So I think that's why I wasn't like as involved in the love of so many common celebrities out there, um, until I discovered music and everything, and that's what kind of draws me into somebody is like their talent. And I'm not super into like acting talent like as much as I know that's because you don't really, you know what, maybe the reason for that is because you don't get to fall in love with their personality. You get to fall in love with the characters that they play. So like how am I supposed to know what they're really like? Whereas like music really, yeah, it's a little bit of a character, but it's not like a full-fledged, you're not being paid to be a character. So I think that kind of made the difference for me. But with the Jonas Brothers, I think they were my first semblance of like, oh, this is something like people I'm into, and people were like really into them. Um, and I did this thing that I still do, which is like not allowing myself to like be into something when it's like super popular, because I'm just like I don't understand why this thing is super popular, so I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't exist, which is not my greatest character trait because then I miss out on a lot of stuff. I still haven't listened to Hamilton. It's been years. Still haven't watched the Tiger King documentary, which everyone's all, up in arms about at the current moment. If you're listening to this post-quarantine, bless you. Hope we made it out to the other side. So I'm also adding a little bit of blue into Kevin and Nick's hair so that it stands out from Joe's, which is more brown tinted in the middle, because I want to make sure that I can tell the difference for later, because I'll go over it and make it more black later. Both of them had like little froze. I don't know what they are, if they're like Italian or what. They just like have the best froze for no reason. So now that we're here with this amount of black spread out, the lighting is awful, I'm sorry. Now that we have all of this like black spread out on the page, we have like the black, this black, the blue. We have to get some kind of blue up here so that like further away from this, but still on Kevin. So I might give I think I'm gonna give Nick a black jacket, Joe a white shirt, and Kevin a brown jacket. What do they have in the promo? Yeah, I mean that's kind of accurate. They all had jackets on. Why do they all have jackets on? Oh, the skinny tie. Holy shit! I have to include that. All right, that's gonna be the pop of blue. So we're gonna give Nick a black jacket. Anyway, listening to and what's funny too is like listening to their stuff back then. I was like, when you're like young and whatever, I remember being like, I just don't get why every song is about love. And something my dad said sticks with me now. Because he's like, people relate, they talk about stuff that's relatable, right? Like they write about stuff that's relatable. And I remember being like, but I don't relate to this because I like wasn't in love with anyone. And I like had crushes and shit because everyone, not everyone, but most people do. And I was always like, I don't get why everyone has to write about love. And I think the Jonas Brothers did a good job of not entirely writing about just love all the time, which I really appreciated. A lot of their songs were, but a lot of other songs were like kind of just like inspirational and whatever, or like wacky. Like some of their songs were just like fucking ridiculous, like, or they were like likable if you weren't in love too. Like some of them were dissy and like whatever, but some of them were like fun. Um, Specifically, like even they covered like um Kids in America and like Year 3000 and whatever. It was just very likable and also just very talented, and they were also actors, and like everyone had like a different side to them where it was like he's the sweet one and like he's the funny one and like whatever. And I think they were just branded really well to like the mass population of, teenage to tween girls that like might have been into something like that. I think that was very smart of whoever branded them the way that they were branded to put them forth like that. I'm gonna check the Facebook feed to see if we have any comments, just for kicks. But I just remember being really into them. Um, Somebody said hi. So this was like one of the first boy bands I like allowed myself to be into. I think I'm gonna just the opacity is what I'm talking about. It's not dry yet, so we're gonna wait on that. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna wait until that's dry, until all of the Jonas Brothers are dry, to go back and do that. So I'm gonna finish off the children over here. So I've laid down this base now, and I'm gonna paint like a little bit of texture in. Like Emily's hair's a little like wavier, so we're gonna get that in there. Actually, I want to do one more layer on the black. I think it could be darker. Doing blocky shapes and then like hella good lighting. That's essentially the goal that we're going for. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna give, what color do I want Emily Fenter's ponytail to be? I think this color was the one I used for her shirt, but more potent. So with watercolor, if you add more water, then the color goes down in opacity. Or for simpler terms, just like the amount of color that there is in a paint stroke goes down the more water you add. So like I'll show you like on my hand. So if I have like a lot of water on my brush, I just got a lot of water on my brush, and you go like this, like that's the opacity. But if you had like even more water on your brush, you get something like this, which is less. So that's the great thing about watercolor, is that you can play with that. So if you have like one color, you really have like 10 million colors, because you can just mix it up if you want to. So Emily, this one is a dirty brown, so we're gonna go in and add some details to her ponytail. Oh, she has a band on the bottom of her hair too, which I forgot to include. She's got a chunky ponytail. I literally keep going to be like, it's abstract, so like don't judge me. And then I'm like, I don't have to say that. No one's judging me. It's abstract, so I don't have to explain myself. So that's that. I'm gonna do the little ink creases in her braid with a little bit of a darker color here. I'm gonna go over that one more time. And that's the good thing about watercolors too, is that the more times you go over it, the more dark it gets, because it's like an additive material. So, and I'm also going to give her a little bit of a shadow of her braid on the bottom of her shirt. So I'm taking like pretty pure color with like not a lot of water on it, and just giving her a shadow of where her braid would be, being careful not to touch what I just painted, because otherwise it's going to bleed. Sorry. Cute. Okay. I'm gonna give her like a little bit of darkness at the bottom of her shirt, and I'm gonna do this for probably all of us to kind of gradient it upward. Oh no, it's bleeding into Emily. Other Emily. We will fix that later. So we'll go in on mine, give me a darker shade around the bottom of my hair, and a little bit of shadow underneath, like as if my hair were casting it, because the light's coming from here. And then we're going to give me a couple of details. My hair was probably a little curlier back then, but we're just going to pretend it was straight for this purpose, because I want like a variety of texture between our hairs. I think that would look nice. Cool. And then on Christine's hair, her hair was also kind of straight. So we're going to take like a darker brown than her hair color is, and we're going to use that to paint on her bangs and the rest of her hair. Cool. Yeah. And then we're going to go back to Emily, because she should be dry by, actually no, we're going to continue on Christine's, because she has hair here also that we can add a shadow to. Cool, cool. That's good. And then I'm going to fade up what's left on my brush up her shirt, so that it makes more of a gradient, because it should be darker like down at the bottom, right? Because it's darker because the light's coming from here. That's something you have to bear in mind when you paint, or if you're making something in general as your light source. So I'm going to go back to Emily, and we're going to add in the shadow underneath her hair. And because her shirt's so close to the bottom, I'm not even going to bother adding that shadow, because I don't think that I need to. And then we're going to go into her hair and we're going to make her a little bit curlier. I don't know if she necessarily was. It's been a while. I don't remember. Her hair's always been kind of straight, I think. But again, I'm just going to riff. This is not entirely historically accurate, and I just feel like it needs to be that way. It has like a little bit of wave to it from my memory. So we are going to leave that for, actually no, I'm going to go in and take a little bit of that skin color that I had before and add a darker color to it, which should be like a brown, and I am going to shade just underneath the two faces that you can see, which are the two outer girls. because shadows are going to be darker than the color of the thing that we have, but highlights are going to be the color of the light source. And I'm going to blend that out a little bit so it doesn't look too weird. And I'm also going to give us arms because I forgot to do that with that pre-made skin color. Hands. That was not bad. That's pretty damn good. I'll take it. This hand would go here. And we're just absolutely throwing realness out the window right now. We are playing opacity to the fucking max. I don't even care. That arm is shorter than the other one is. Arm's gonna be purple. I'll go back and fix that one later. This one is gonna go here. Because there's no way that we didn't have our hands up. That's not even me. What was I talking about? And the funny thing is, although we didn't go to the concert together years and years later, I know for a fact that all of us did go to the tour that happened in 2019. So that's kind of funny. My hand would have been here, entirely in front of Christine's face. I'm sorry. And I'm just going to leave that one up to the imagination. We'll come back to that hand in a bit. That's bothering me. So, okay. We are going to, we're going to add the highlights. So the color that I want the main lights to be is like this pink that I have. It's already in my palette here. So we are just going to add that along the faces and the hair. Trying not to get this on my Nickelback drawing. Oh dear, I should have waited for that to dry. You know what? Nah. We'll just let the watercolor go where it wants to go. This is also good practice because I haven't traditionally painted in such a long time. Like when I was doing the Nickelback one, I was like, wow, I haven't painted in absolute eons. I'm going to wait to paint the highlights on the hands because they're wet right now. I'm going to fade the highlights a little bit into the hair. That one got messed up, but that's alright. I kind of like the little display that it made. So we're going for fun. Now that that's a little bit more dry, I'm going to take a break and go up here because I don't want to fuck with the stuff that's already going on down here. So what I'm thinking is instead of black, I don't want to do like a black background again. I'm going to do like a darker purple pink background up here. I'll have to go back in with white paint to put the Jonas Brothers, like the telling you what concert this is later, but that's alright by me. I want that to be a little bit more pink than it is. I have their songs stuck in my head right now, specifically their most recent one, which is What a Man Gotta Do. Which objectively, I don't think is their best song, but it's also not a bad one, so the production value has gone way up, I'll tell you that. They're assigned to Columbia Records, and I used to work for them. And when the song Sucker came out in March of 2019, all of us kind of looked around at each other and we're like, aren't they signed here? But they did not produce their new album like under Columbia. And it got to be like a point of like, we'd have like a meeting about it to be like, what are we going to do to get the Jonas Brothers back? I don't know who they're producing under now. Hope things are sorted, but not like a breach of contract, but definitely interesting to think about. So what I'm going to do is, because I kind of want to create this like air-y type of like smoke type of atmosphere, I'm going to go get some saran wrap. And the first thing they teach you in like a middle school art class, sorry, I have the paintbrush in my mouth, is different techniques to watercolor look funky. You take some saran wrap, do this to it, put some water down, and then pick it up with the saran wrap. Don't touch it to other areas, so that it gets like this texture. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can leave it there so it picks up more. I'm not going to do that right now. I don't have time. And I might go back later and place this elsewhere to kind of, well, maybe. No, I'll do it later because I don't want to fuck it up right now. But like it makes like this texture, you see? That's kind of cool. So we're going to use the salt for that later as well for fun. So I'm going to go back in and give them a little bit of a darker tone because I think that they're, why is that purple? I think they're definitely darker than we are, especially since technically their faces are in shadow because the light's coming from behind them. But we're not going to do it like too much. You can, what's great actually, what I'm a fan of about what I've been doing so far is that you can tell their likenesses even though they don't have faces, because like this is very clearly Joe Jonas to me. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. Oh, taking off my glasses. So we're gonna go back in here now that things are a little bit more dry, with a bigger brush because this is annoying me. What's a good bigger brush? That's a big brush. No, too big. One day I'll get a brush thing that contains all my brushes without having some of them be squashed. So these are the flames from burning up. Pyrotechnics. Kind of wish I had done these preemptively, but here we are. We all make mistakes. Yada yada. So I wanted them to be a little bit more see-through, so you would have seen the stuff that was below it. Maybe I should have probably painted these last then, but it's literally too late now. I wanted this to be like as off the cusp as possible because last week was like incredibly pre-planned. I thought this would be fun to do something a little bit more experimental, as well as I don't have such clear memories of this concert like I did last week's. And as well as the fact that even if I did, we were like hella far away. This was something that did stick with me. And it was also like one of their songs, you know? Like Burning Up was one of their songs, and that was like the big thing. So that was going to be cool regardless. So I painted down an orange layer. And trying to avoid the hands. Is this going to be my best one? No. Do I think it's fun? Yeah. So that's that. We're going to leave that for a little bit. I'm going to go back in and paint the, what, is that using that brush? Yeah. I'm going to go back in and paint a little bit more on the Jonas Brothers, I think. Like here, I want to paint a little bit more. I do want to do some textures in their hair like I did down on us, and I'm going to go over Emily's hair one more time. I think that would look better. That's the thing about watercolors. You'll think something's going to look like this, and then it ends up fading, which you just kind of have to expect going in. That, and if you just painted something, you can't paint something that's directly next to it, because otherwise you're going to end up with a big sloppy mess, because it's going to blend, it's going to bleed into each other. Just something you have to kind of pre-think about. I'm going to try to avoid the places where the fire is, so that when I go back in and paint a darker layer, it looks like the fire is going over what is behind it. That's the goal. So that's what we're up to. Painting some flames, another guitar. And albeit being so far away, I do remember this being a lot of fun. I remember them being very good, which I was kind of shocked at. Because again, I had been to that one like pop concert and they were just like not what I had expected. So I was very glad that they lived up to their expectations. I'm gonna do one more layer of color on the hair, and then I'm gonna go in and do the texture like I did on ours. Because Nick was like this little fro boy. To be honest with you, I was just watching them like do the burning up thing, and I was like, wow, they actually are very um, confident and attractive. I can't imagine like being like 16, 17, like 15, 16, 17 going on tours like with your brothers with like mass amounts of like gals like around your age in the audience, like, being like the most hot commodity of Disney. Must have been a lot of pressure. But they churned out some good stuff and they don't seem too fucked up now. They all have like Kevin Jonas has a family, Nick Jonas has a wife, the other one, Joe Jonas, has either a wife or a really serious girlfriend. I don't know if I know if they have a label to it. Who am I to say? So, and I think this looks like them. I think this is funny. It looks like we're like praising cult leaders. It's literally what this looks like. That's not what I wanted it to look like. All right. Whatever. It's fine. Praise Jesus. Honestly though, that's believable because that was kind of the vibe that they gave off anyway. Not the Jonas Brothers, but like the scene around like heavy pop influences I get. Anyway, God, I wish I had seen One Direction before they died. They keep just saying they're on a break. They're not reuniting. If they do, I will absolutely eat my words. And that concert reunion, oh my actual God, people would lose their minds. People would start reselling those things for like a ridiculous amount of money. Like we thought My Chemical Romance was coming back, yeah, but that was emos. This would be like teenage girl or like still girls, but teenage girls, but now they're like 30. My favorite type of girl. I'm gonna give Kevin a little gray wash on his shirt just for fun. I'm gonna do the same thing on this because I don't know what color I want this to be, but I don't think it should be white. So I don't want to talk too heavily about the concert, like the most recent one. But I can tell you that it was a lot of fun. And it was again real nostalgic. But what I wanted to say was that all the people, all the specifically like all the women that grew up with loving the Jonas Brothers are now like either my age or like 30 something. So it was a lot of fun, like to see all these people out at like this concert, like reliving, them being like either 6 to like 20. I don't know. It was very very cool to be able to see that and kind of be there for that. Um, See that level of nostalgia. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a really great time. But I'm glad I did this pink underlay so it wasn't as overwhelming at first. I'm doing like the floods of light from the top. One on each of the Jonas Brothers. This is Nick, if nobody knew. Nick is on this side. Kevin is over there because he's taller. We're gonna do like a darker one on Joe. Not darker in terms of opacity, but darker in terms of color. Should I have waited before the other one was dry? Yes. Did I? No. Um, this is so funny to look at. The flames, oh my God. Why did I do that? All right. Right now I have Change Your Ticket by One Direction stuck in my head. I don't know, I just wanted to say that. So that's that. I think what I want to do is what's funny too is that like considering like I think this is my best one, and then we have this next to it. We have like the most like pink and purple thing next to like A Nickelback concert poster? Incredible. Alright, so I'm gonna do more of the, probably gonna end early tonight, as I've been doing most nights. I normally with these, I'm either like one and done, like I do it like really fast, or I'm like, I need to spend another 5 hours on this. It really depends. And I think with this one, just because I was like, again, I think I'm gonna get more complicated when I get to ones that I actually can remember. What do we have? I don't actually know what next week's is. Idina Menzel. I think I'm just gonna do like a really comprehensive portrait of Idina Menzel. I think that's gonna be the vibe. Because I do remember what she was wearing. I remember she was barefoot, and I thought that was baller. And I recently just restarted watching Glee. Don't at me, because I want to finally finish it. Because I never did. And my dad today was like, "You don't have to finish it." And I'm like, "No, I have my civic duty is to finish Glee." Kind of want to write the words "burning up," and then I also kind of don't. I think it's just funny that it looks like we're like leading a mini cult. Maybe that's fun for. Was it good for you? Was it fun for you? Okay, so I'm gonna add detail in their hair. Joe had like that fun, you know, curly mess. Not curly. His was like more wavy. It's kind of the length that mine is now. Beepity boop 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 boop. And then Nick's, I want to do something fun for this because his hair was really fun. I want to give him curls because I think that's funny. Because they were. He had like really curly hair. Kevin's afro was like curly, but like it wasn't like a lot. And this is like Kevin. I mean, Nick's was like really a lot. Like as much as I want to say Nick um was not my favorite, I think it was because of I think he's more attractive now with like the more shaved hair. Just me. When he here's the thing actually. I whether or not I am a Joe or a Nick person. Here's the final T. I think if you had asked me that back in middle school, I wouldn't have been able to tell you my permanent answer. Nowadays, I think I was more like attracted, and they kind of put Joe as like the bigger front runner, you know. But I think in all seriousness, based on their overall like performances like over the years, I think I'd have to say Nick because his presence is really good. His voice is very unique. He's talented in more ways than one. Like I know he plays the drums, and I always just thought he was like a little goofy and like whatever. And then on top of that, his solo stuff was really good. I was actually a big fan of his solo career. Um, I very much so liked his stuff. Was that the best idea? Maybe not, but we already did it. So I think objectively, I am probably a Nick person. I think that's the vibe that I'm telling you now at this day and age. Literally have a One Direction song stuck in my head right now. Is this some cruel joke? I kind of want to write the words burning up, but I don't think that would make this less culty. This is so funny. I like finally looked back at it from far away. This is really funny. No, it looks like a band. The flames are so funny. That was what a bad decision. No, this is funny. I think I might leave this the way it is, to be honest with you. I think it's funny. This is how I remember it. I don't know what to tell you. Joe doesn't get any shit on his face. Maybe that was close. I wanted to use salt in this, but I don't know that that's really necessary because then I have to take it off afterwards. Salt kind of like evaporates the paint a little bit and leaves some white marks. I'm kind of happy with this the way that it is, to be honest. This feels accurate. I think I want to put a little bit more texture in Emily's hair. because it faded a little bit. And it wasn't, like, black on black is hard to kind of show after a while. Her hair is not this curly, but I'm sorry, Emily. Like, I have like acrylic paint here too, just for kicks. I don't really think it needs it. I think this is exactly what I wanted to say. This feels very 13-year-old me to me. I had a good time. It was a great time. Oh fuck, wait. Kevin's face is bleeding. No. This is exactly what I remember. The three Jonas brothers, me and my three friends, me an alternate friend, having a good roaring time at a Jonas Brothers concert on Long Island. What more can you ask for, to be honest with you? I think this is funny too. I think I would have done this a little differently if I had pre-planned a little bit more, but that's all right. Because I wish I could do like digital sketching in a sketchbook, but obviously you can't do that because it's a sketchbook. So I think that's the vibe. I think this is what I wanted to say. I'll give Joe a little bit of pink here. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of pink, because then I do this thing where I'm like, no, maybe more. And I don't want to do that too much tonight, as I never intend to, but it always ends up happening. Maybe I want to do confetti. No, that sounds like a bad idea. Maybe I want to do confetti. I don't know. What do you think? I thought about, okay, so if I cover this and I use a little bit of acrylic to get like a splatter effect, do I want to do that? What would it look like? We're going to test it out before I make a huge mistake. Oh dear. I really got to water it down so that when you do that, oh crap, it's not watery enough. Yeah, it would make, oh no, maybe I don't want to do that. It's also getting everywhere. I think if I had white, I would do it, but that's downstairs and I don't really want to get it. Because I don't know how the silver would show up on this either. Let me just test it out. What could we do? Well, let's just, yeah, it doesn't really show up. I think it's good the way that it is. Yep, I'm happy with that. Here's the Jonas Brothers concert. Looks like us. Looks like children at a cult meeting. But I think that's fine. All right. I think that's it for the day. I think that's what I want. This sketchbook's supposed to be about for me, like just doing whatever's off the cusp of my mind. And I think this is how this has to be for the beginning ones, like I've disclaimed a bunch of times, where I'm just like, because I don't remember it super vividly, like I think this really captures how I felt or what I remember about this concert. So went a different direction than I thought I was going to, but I think it speaks for itself. So childhood memories of, burning the Jonas Brothers on the stake with your friends. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is again the final result. I'll be back next week for the Idina Menzel concert. That's gonna be fun. I can't wait to do like a really baller portrait of her. I think I might do that in pen, but we'll figure it out. Maybe like expressionist. I don't know. I'm really bad with doing things that aren't like explicitly like a thing. Like this, I was like, oh, not bad at. My mind is bad at letting me do it. Because like this, I was like, oh, I can paint this. Or like this, I was like, I have faces to draw, right? But like doing something more like blocky and like abstract takes me a little bit more time to figure out so it looks right. But I will figure that out in the upcoming weeks. I might plan a little bit. So I will be back next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this was PunKrap on Gov's Comedy Club Radio. I'm MJ, and I'll be back next week at 9 p.m. on Wednesdays. But also, if you want to tune into my album review, I'm going to do one this weekend at 2 to 4 on Saturday. I don't know what album yet because it depends on what I feel like my mood is. Because sometimes I have albums that are sad and some of them are happy, and I will decide which one I want to cover and how much research I want to do then. So look for this on Spotify. later. Thank you so much to the Jonas Brothers for giving me a great nostalgic ride. I'm literally going to go listen to their stuff right now, and it's a damn shame I can't listen to their stuff while I'm painting, but it's just too much stimulation with like me talking as well as painting, on top of the fact that I'm not allowed to use it because of copyright. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next week.